All right. God bless you guys. This is Pastor Joel Martinez, and thank you for tuning in today. Today we have a very interesting topic. Might be sensitive for some people, but it's needed, it's necessary. And today we have a special guest from Freedom Worship, which is the church I pastor, Angie Batiz, our worship leader. Hello, Angie.
Hi, hello. Hi, family. How y'all doing?
And welcome for joining us today
Thank you.
in this interesting topic. The topic we're going to speak about is the importance of a father, right? The reason why we need a father around. And the reason why I chose you in particular to be part of the show today is because you are a single mother.
Yes.
So you have a firsthand experience on raising a child without her father, basically. Right? You want to share with us a little bit of that experience and how it's been?
Well, I have an 11 years old girl right now, and it's been an interesting journey. I would say, yes. It's not easy, but with God help, it's now better to deal with.
It's been better to deal with.
Yes.
Yeah. I can understand that. Yeah. So part of the reason why you're here today is because I'm going to be my perspective as a father, right? And then my experiences, I'm going to be honest about my experiences as a father and the things that I've been through as a father as well. Sorry about that. So I am a father of three, right? I have two boys and a girl. I was blessed with a beautiful baby girl. But at the moment in my life, I haven't really been able to really share their life, be around as much, right? But I know God first that He will change that situation in the appropriate moment. But the reason why I believe this topic is important is because I myself was raised without a father, right? And so we start looking at these cycles, right, of like generational. I want to say always it's not always a curse, but it's a generational curse of not having a father around. But then it's also a cycle, right? Generational cycle, something that kind of repeats itself. And I grew up without my father. My mom raised five boys, right? My little brother had a more of a different outcome because he had a father around. But for the rest of us, we didn't grow up with our father. But it marked me. It really, how can I say, it affected me in a lot of decisions that I made in my life because I didn't have that guidance from a man in particular. And then in and out of my life, I could say that God has blessed me with certain men that were able to be influence to me, but they weren't my father. You understand? So it's like even the way they would discipline or infuse discipline was kind of, I wouldn't want to use the word weak, but it wasn't as strong as it would have been from my biological father, right? But the same thing goes with me, how I interact with them, because I was unable to go with them with boldness and confidence to tell them, this is what I'm going through in my life. This is what's happening. What do you suggest me to do? Right? So that brings the matter of today's conversation is the importance of having a biological father in your life. But even when you're not blessed to have a biological father, it's important to have a father figure,
Yes.
right? So I want to start off as a single mother, right? As a single mother, I wanted to ask you what's been some of your challenges as a single mother raising a daughter without her father around.
One of the main challenges have been like enforcing that authority. I would say authority, right? Like because even me myself, I grew up without a father figure, and it really affect myself, So I can, relate to what you're saying right now because it's like you always want to have that figure, of protection,
Right.
of care, of love, and although I might know what she needs, it's hard for me to talk or fulfill that space in her life, because so it will be that would be one of the main challenges.
Yeah. And I believe that is a big problem. Me as a pastor, I've dealt with a few people who are kind of like relate to you as a single mom, where they have a hard time kind of like putting a little bit of that authority or that extra strength and trying to discipline the child, because we know that by nature man carries that, right? And this is why it is important to have both in the house. It is important because each person, each parent has their own strength and have a natural ability to discipline, right? But when you are a single mother opposed to a single father, right, it is harder to have that like dominance to be able to discipline our children. And then children are, depending on which child you have, right, children are pretty tough to handle.
Yeah, to handle.
Yeah, they're pretty tough to handle, especially when they are in the adolescence, when they're trying to figure life out on their own and things of that nature. But but what is the things that you feel kind of like resembles your, because you did have your child at a very young age, right?
Yes.
So you want to share a little bit about that?
Of course, I was 14.
You was 14.
When I had my daughter. Yeah, I started really early. Yes, don't judge me.
Well, there's reasons to that, and I'm pretty sure you can break that down.
Okay, so there's I think not to justify my actions, but I was really young, and I think that the person that I had my daughter with kind of took advantage of that.
Yeah.
Because although I had like male figures, like my uncles around, they were not really paying attention to us. They had their own family to take care of. So I was kind of vulnerable in that sense. And so he took advantage of that, right? And I trusted him too much. And well, that happens. Right? It happened.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that I would blame that a little bit towards the fact that I didn't grow up with my father, because that need was there.
Yeah.
I needed somebody to I can come to and talk to and feel protected by, and feel like I was able to feel that love and care from. And he kind of fulfilled that on my understanding. He kind of fulfilled that space. So I became very vulnerable to him, and I end up without.
So this is part of the things that could affect a fatherless child, and particularly a daughter.
Exactly.
Is that you grow up, or you are in need of having that fatherly protection and warmth, that you just grab it from the first person or any person that comes near you, or any man in that particular situation near you. And that's pretty much what was your story, right? But God knows all things. I mean, your daughter's a blessing. We all love her anyway, so it is what it is, right? But this is part of the challenges of particularly girls who are raised or are growing up without the father. It's like you're missing that protection. You're missing that warmth of a man to give you that security. Because in reality, a father is the first person designed to infuse security in a daughter, in a woman. Yeah. It's your father, right? By nature, it is your father every day waking up and telling you you're beautiful, telling you that you are his princess, and that putting that security. Now, being that in May, so now you 14, you have your first child. So let's just say now it's almost like a double job, because you're not an adult yet, and now you're raising a child at 14 in your teenage years. I'm assuming with the help of your grandparents and things of that nature. But then, how do you navigate through that? You don't have your own father. And basically, from my understanding, your daughter, it doesn't really have, from my understanding, her father around.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was really pretty tough, and it was pretty like only with the God's help, I was able to navigate through this entire situation, because I was learning myself how to be a a young adult.
Right.
And now I have somebody that I can't even believe that it's mine, that came out of me.
Yeah.
And now I had to learn, in a way how to be mature enough to communicate this absentee to my daughter now, and also learn how to protect myself and herself as well.
And her. Yeah.
And hers as well. So it was really tough. But thank God I was surrounded by strong women. I was surrounded by my grandmother, for example, that she was always giving me that support, that help, that how can I call that? Like she will always tell me, listen, life is not ended. You can always find somebody else that will protect you, that will take care of you. Now you had to grow up. You had to say no to a lot of things. You had to study. You had to go to school. You had to basically grow up.
Right.
So and now learn how to identify who will be that person that you would like to be around or surround your kid by, in order for her not to go through what you went
Right.
already, or you going through.
Yeah, and that is the challenge within itself, because now it's crazy because you go from not having to protect that male figure, that father figure, to now being a mom and a father figure. So now you're playing a role. Well, we could say we both play roles of being something we never saw, right?
Yes.
Or that we never had, which becomes a little more complicated, right? And and the thing is about fatherhood is that it doesn't always only have to be a biological figure, right? Because then we step into the realm of church, right? Where many times we look at certain males in the church, in most cases the pastor as a spiritual father, as a father figure, right? But going back, having that male figure, that male father, biological father, is just very, very important.
Yes.
Right? Very, very important. But I think that in order for us to kind of speak on that, we have to kind of like rewind a little bit in life and talk about maybe how certain women have to choose a man, right? Which is complex because we know that, okay, there's a lot of factors in this.
Yes.
Okay, there's a lot of factors. Because number one, you have men that could act like they're good people. And then you have...
Let's go there.
certain men that are just to fulfill a void.
Yes.
Right? So from the beginning, there's a challenge, especially when you did not have a father around. But let's just say it's a perfect story. Let's just say you have a daddy around, and let's just say you went through school, you did everything you're supposed to with the law of life, and then you find yourself a great man, right? And then he's a great person. He fits all the qualities, right? So everything starts from there. Now, what are some of the signs you would advise? Let's just take like a little intermittent break here. That you would give, let's just say, a single mom in your case, and how you will identify a great father. A potential great father.
A potential great father. Okay.
Matter of fact, let's make it a little more easy, a little more practical. What if you had, at this point, because at some point you're going to have to get married, I'm assuming.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So being in the case now, you have a 12-year-old, right?
11.
11-year-old. Okay. You have an 11-year-old. What would be the qualities that you would look for in a man that would be both great for you as a mom, as a woman, but also to help you kind of like filling that role of a father for your daughter?
Some of the qualities. Well, I wanted to say something after that or prior to that, but I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just follow it. Okay, so some of the qualities that I would want from or require from this person is somebody that loves God.
Okay.
loves God.
Definitely got to go on there. The
Yes.
first piece.
First
You
piece.
got to love God. Definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
Another thing is like somebody that is a role model
A
in
role
the
model.
sense of even if it's not a father himself, but that he knows exactly what a father is.
Okay.
He's got to be clear on his head.
Right.
Somebody that loves me overall, or me and my daughter.
Right.
You know, that wants to do the job. Because this is the thing. This is what I wanted to add at the beginning. Because there are some men that, like you were saying before, it's not that they don't want to be part of that image or want that in reality. But once they have it, or they are placed in that position as a stepfather or anything like that, to fill in that role, they don't really give the kid the space to be themselves, or really, they don't really take seriously. They don't take the job
seriously.
Yeah, because it's like they continuously keep reminding themselves that that's not their biological child. So it's like they put that barrier right there. You know, okay, there's certain things that I can talk about. There's certain things that I'm not going to talk about because that child is not mine.
Right.
Or society in general keeps on telling these men, right? Or even their own moms. Their own moms be like, oh, you know, that's not your kid.
Right.
And you raising a kid of somebody else's kid, you know? So for me, that man has to be serious and understand what the job is.
Right.
And really want to do it.
True.
You know, and assume that responsibility, not just of beside, in front of my eyes, but all the way through.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's a very important component, because if you're gonna, it's one thing to enter a marriage or a relationship without having any kids on both sides, right? Because it's something you both figure out together. You're gonna both do it by the example you both had at home. Her father, your father, and her mother, your mother, and kind of just go off the example you grew up with. But it's a whole separate ballgame when you're gonna kind of like add on to a woman that already has a child, right? Because I don't believe that it always has to be like, always carry that pressure. I gotta be her father. But you have to also understand that you're stepping into a child's life along with the mother.
Exactly.
Right? And the child, the mom may not always have an expectation for you to, like, you know, fill in that role and pressure yourself. But the child thinks everything a little more differently, right? Because it's proven that kids that don't have their father around always gonna crave that father, right? So the first man they see, which is why a lot of women has to be very careful.
Exactly.
Of just letting any guy around the house, you know, immediately, whatever. But a child is always gonna have the expectation that, okay, this man is gonna come and fill a void, right? So as a man, you had to have that in mind and understand, if I'm gonna step into a home, right, where I'm gonna be the husband and the father figure, then I had to be considerate of the child's feelings.
Exactly.
Right? Considerate how this child is gonna view me, how this child is gonna interact around me, right? And give it your best behavior as a man to kind of like, you know, fill in that void.
Yes.
Intentionally. Because it would be kind of a mistake to step into a relationship with the mentality that is only going to be about the mom.
Yeah.
It's me and the mom. I do me, and she worry about the kid.
Exactly.
Because now you in a unit, right? So if you're even planning to marry this individual, right? When you marry this person, you and the mom become one flesh at this point, right? So her objective becomes your objective. Her vision becomes your vision becomes her vision, and whatever goals just kind of like meshing together, right, including the child.
Yes.
Right. So that's a very important factor there to understand that as a father, right? Now, you're in this home. Now you're married, let's say, and the child has a father figure, right? Now, I believe as children of God, we got to be intentional about the fact that if I'm going to step into a home with children that are not my biological children, it is still my responsibility as a man to break some cycles in the life of this child. Your life, yes, but also in the life of this child. Because what you're doing there is you're number one, you're allowing God to use you to be a chain breaker in that situation, right? So that this child cannot grow up breaking these curses. So that when they grow up, they either won't be a father, an absentee father, or the daughter, could kind of break that cycle of being a single mom again, and this and that and the third. So this is why I believe a father is so important in so many things. And when we get to the spiritual aspect of things, it gets even deeper, and that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll stick to that protection, because it's not only a physical protection of like I won't let nothing bad happen into my home, but it's also an emotional protection.
Right.
It's a mental protection, and it's a spiritual protection. This is why a father without God is kind of complicated.
Yes.
It is complicated.
It definitely is complicated.
Because you only becoming the image of God in the life of this family, right? But if you don't have God in you, it's just going to be kind of tough.
Yes.
It's going to be,
That's
I know
deep.
some of y'all ain't going to like this, but it's the fact. It's
That's
the fact.
deep.
It's going to be hard to lead when you don't allow God to lead.
And it becomes, what is that word that you always said?
Which one? I use a lot of words.
It's like, instead of making the things better, you make it worse.
You make it worse. Yeah.
Because now it's like you bring in this person, right? So with an idea that will better make the situation better, and that person itself, that male itself, needs help. So instead of creating a model now and a protection for your kids, you're making it worse. That's why that was something that I always had within myself. It's like when I'm dating somebody, when I used to date, when I was dating somebody, I would always look at that. I wouldn't compare that person never to any male or to my father, because I didn't have that, ideal or proper ideal of what a father is. So, but I will always look at that, and I will always make questions about that.
Ask questions. Oh.
Ask questions. Yes.
Got it. Yeah.
Ask questions about it, because it's like, if you are planning to have a life with me, you gotta know from the get-go that I have a daughter.
Right.
And she's priority to me.
Absolutely.
If she's not priority to you, then we got nothing to talk about.
Right.
You know? And you can come around my home. You cannot. Because you don't know where you're standing. And this is me. This is mine, And that's another thing. Also, I think that most of the time, the stepdads, I haven't had a stepdad.
Stepfather.
A stepfather, right? But based on other people's experiences that they have communicated to me, sometimes it's like, also we as women, sometimes we don't allow that man to kind of take the rails in the family.
I get what you're saying, and I think that's a very important matter.
Yes.
Because that is another thing. Once you accept a man in your life, right, and particularly when you have a child, you also got to understand that, he has a way.
Exactly.
Or he's going to have a way that's going to be functional to raising that or helping you raise that child, right? And many times, and I think this is a big issue, is that moms in particular don't like, when a man gets involved in or disciplining their child, right? I do believe that you got to be mindful when it's not your biological child. And I think also the age plays an important matter, right? But I do also believe that stepfather, as we call it, right, a man who's not that biological father, should have certain room to be able to freely discipline, as long as there's no abuse, as long as he's not, going overboard with mistreatment or anything in that matter, because that's going to help balance things out, right? That's going to help balance things out at home, where the child's not going to feel like I can only rely on mom for certain things. Or, when I want this, I go to him. Or when I want that, I go to her. Exactly. And then he knows who to manipulate because mom doesn't like, stepdaddy getting too involved in certain things.
Exactly.
So I think that's another matter that people gotta take in consideration. Yeah. Right.
And also bring to the table, have conversations about that prior to committing. To anything. Because once you are committed, there's a life now, too much people involved that you can hurt once you decide to,
Absolutely.
disconnect.
Yeah. So this is, I think, like everything else in life or other things in life, this matter of like choosing a partner, particularly when you are a single parent or a mom in this case, is so important.
Yes.
I don't think it's something that you should take lightly, right? When you're single by yourself and no children, do what pleases you. But you should still choose a godly man, or at least a man with good character, right? However, if you are a single mother, I think that you don't only think or should only think about yourself and your needs.
Exactly.
Right? You have to take into account the qualities and the character of this man before you bring him to your children. Yeah. And I think it's like anything else. You have to try this person out.
Yes.
Before you bring them to the kids. I think that's just very important. I was fortunate to grow up with my stepfather after I think at the age of 7 or 8 is when he came in the picture. I was very fortunate with the stepfather that I had. I honestly just call him my father, to be honest. He took my mom in like no problem. He loved us like a father, right? But there's always certain things. He did discipline us, but he was very careful, right? But it was not something that my mom was like withholding from him. It was more like him. He was very conscious that he was not a biological father, but he stepped up, and he really did feel that void. If I'm not mistaken, he baked me my first cake. He taught me how to ride a bike. So there's a lot of things that he did for me that, otherwise I would have to learn how to do on my own, right? I love my father. He knows I love him. I've learned to forgive him, but he knows the facts, right? But even until today, right? My biological father could care less about reaching out to me, really, honestly. And I'm going to just say it straight up because it's the truth, right? But these are the things that messes somebody up, could mess somebody up.
Yeah.
Right? Because even as a grown man, 35 years old, sometimes I really wish my father could just pick up the phone and, hey, son, what's going on? What's going on with life? How what's anything new? You dating anybody? What's up? What's up with the kids? Right? Because it doesn't do much, at the end of the day, but at its core, it keeps you grounded.
Right.
It keeps you grounded, right? So it is so important, I believe, for a father to be hands-on, right? Into the kid's life, in the kids' lives, and just be. I think anything you do as a father helps. A phone call helps.
Yes.
A text message helps. Even if it's just a short, hey, son, thinking about you. You good? All right, I got to go back to work, all right? I think that's better than no phone call at all.
Exactly. Exactly.
And don't make excuses for everything, Another thing to this, too, is that what a father is what a boy would become, right? So
come on, say that again.
So if you want to have a preview of what this boy is going to be like when he becomes a man, look at his father, right? Or at least look at the male figure in his life, right? This is why All right, so I'm gonna throw a little jab. I'm gonna throw a little jab here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm gonna throw a little jab here, right? And this doesn't go for everybody, but independent women in particular, right? You have this thing that y'all don't need nobody, right? You don't need nobody, and you could do it by yourself. And I'm all for single women. Do your thing, but your child is always gonna need a father.
Right.
If the father is around, do not keep their father from them. Mm-hmm. And this is a real big problem now, and I believe I could speak this freely because I've been through this. In America in particular, we have this like crisis of women and mothers, or even fathers, whatever, single parents trying to keep their kids from the other parent.
The other parent.
Right? And then we make crazy excuses for it. No, if your child has a father that wants to be, if you're separated, if the divorce, it didn't work out, that is not an excuse. I always say the only excuse is if that father is abusive or if he molests his child. If it does not fit in those two categories and he wants to be a part of the child's life,
yes,
let him be part, because the child needs him. You may not need him anymore. You could go move on and you have a whole new set of everything in life. If you catch my drift. Right? But your child needs his father. They need it, even when they're young.
Yes.
Even if they don't know how to mention his first name yet, it's still his father or her father, and they need him. So we have this problem where people want to keep, their father away from the child. And it's true. I'm with you when you say you don't no longer need the father. You don't need him, but the child needs him.
Yeah, it does need him.
There's a reason why. And there's another thing. Don't be mad about the man you choose
to
be the father of your child.
Listen, I got something to say about that.
I say it. I'm about to fall here.
Don't fall. Because that's something that I, in particular, can speak on. Mm-hmm. I was pro Angela's father all the time.
Yeah.
Although I knew that he was on.
Weak.
Come on, don't say it like that. Well, yes, weak-minded, evil.
Oh, she said that.
Let's censor that. Yeah, but, and manipulator, liar, I knew that about him. Mm-hmm. And I can say that freely because that's the truth, right? But I always wanted him to be around his daughter because I went through that, and I never want that to, I wanted her to go through that, and because although my father wasn't functional, he checked out, from time to time, and that make me so happy, it make me feel good about myself and everything. So I always wanted him to be around, and he simply didn't come through, never. Always excuses, always, I got this going on, I got this going on, I got this going on. Until I reached a point where I was like, listen, for you to be just like checking in 2 times in a year, 12 months, Pat. Yeah. 12 months. Yeah. 2 times?
Yeah.
For that, just disappear. You understand? But I tried until she was like, 90 years old? I tried.
Yeah.
For 9 years.
Yeah,
I will be the one that will call. I will be the one that will say, hey, I got to a point of buying gift and making it seem like he did.
Right.
I got to that point.
Yeah.
Just to give him, the space. Right, but I couldn't continue lying to my daughter and hurting her.
Right. And that's a big challenge too that a lot of single moms face, is that protecting your child's heart. You're always covering.
That's a big one.
And I think I'm not a mom, so I can't really relate much to that. But I could only go based on my example, which was my mom. My mom never hid the reality. The reality was always there. But at the same time, and what I mean by reality is the simple fact that we saw that
he didn't care.
Yeah, he didn't care, right? But at the same time, she never weaponized it against him, right? So she never told us, hey, your father's a no good or deadbeat.
Yes.
Or anything like that. Or even to the extent where don't call you. My mom would still tell us, we didn't see our father for months at a time. But she would, it's your father's birthday.
Call
right?
him.
Right? Because remember, there is a Bible verse, I'm going to look it up because I forget everything. This is why. So in Proverbs 22:6, it says, start children off on the way they should go. From the very beginning, right? That's in Proverbs 22:6, right? So in other words, whatever you put in this child is what they're going to be. And if you raise a child to hate their father, then you're basically raising a child that potentially could be hated as a father. Because that's what you put it in them, right? So, yeah. So my mom always had this thing of like, okay, call your father, check up on him, right? Or when we would ask about him, she would, just say he is not coming. She, there was times where, because I was stubborn, when he would say, I'm coming to pick you up, I would be dressed, me and my little brother, and this would make me emotional. And we would sit in front of the house for hours waiting for him. And he would never show up. So my mom would just be like, you guys are ready to come back inside? All right, cool, we're ready back, But these are the things that sometimes we got to be mindful of, be mindful as fathers that whatever our words are matters.
Yes.
Right? Even if it's the smallest thing.
Yes.
Even if it's just saying the truth, son, I can't make it. But don't give false hope.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Don't give false hope because it won't work. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're being honest. You're being straight. I'm not going to be able to go.
And these things matter. And I want to kind of switch it up a little bit because we'll wrap up with this because this is really good and it does deserve a part 2. But according to the statistics, right, it says that the majority of Black African Americans that are in jail, 90% of all inmates, that's a big percent. 90% of them didn't have a father at home. Now, that speaks volumes. Because when we really look at this, the majority of people in prison are Black people, right? So for 90% of Black people incarcerated to not have a father, that's a huge percentage.
Yes.
So why do we bring topics like this? Because we have to raise awareness that for something that's been happening for years.
Yes.
It's been happening for years. And you and I are from a culture in particularly that we could have a father at home and still be silent. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. You have a father at home, which is a good thing, but that's about it. Which is a bad thing.
You're just having him right there.
Yeah, they just and in our culture, I cannot generalize because it's not every father. Because I know good fathers in my culture. I can name them by name. Real good fathers, right? That they're on top of the kids, on top of the family. But a good portion is almost a thing. It's a cultural thing to just have kids as trophies. Just to tell the world, there goes my son here, that's my son there, that's my son. Oh yeah, I got. But you have no part.
That was my situation.
No part in your child's life.
That's it.
Yeah, and that is just as bad as not being there. So we have to break that cycle, right? And particularly our culture, break that cycle. And God will show us how to break that cycle.
Amen.
In Jesus' name, that's the only way we can break that cycle. Amen. But you and I would say or could think that this is something that only happened in our older generations, our parents and our grandparents. And yeah, it was bad, but it's still happening now.
Right.
It's still happening now where, people younger than me are having 4 or 5 kids and don't have a relationship with any of them, So these are things that I believe that are very important. to continue talking about. Being a father is no joke.
Yeah.
It's not a game. It's not something that you hold as a trophy. Oh, look, I'm a dad or I'm a father. I was gonna say another word, but I'm in church and I'm a pastor, so I can't say that word. But ninja, having a child does not make you a father.
Right.
Being there for that child, raising that child,
Yeah.
Cultivating, molding this child's life is what makes you a father.
That's a word out there.
And if you worry about the future of your kid, then just look at your life.
Yes.
Because the child will become who you are. Period. So, man, this is a good conversation.
Yeah,
I really thank you for bringing your perspective as a single mother, right? And raising a child.
My pleasure, always.
And the only thing I want to say to those who are listening is that this is God's design. It's for every child to have that mother and that father at home, and that's his purpose. And there's a reason for that. And I don't know what exactly is going on with your life with the father of your kids, because every case varies and it's different, right? But I'm gonna tell you this: if you have a man, if you had children or a child with a man, and he wants to be part of that child's life, let him be. Take your emotions out the way. Take your resentment out the way. Take you out the way, right? Forgive, ultimately, right? And put your child first. Put him first. Put them or put him first. Because ultimately, you're not just affecting the father. You're affecting the child kids as well and their future, all right? So that's all for today. Oh, you want to say
Can I say something too?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you are that father that is, decided to separate your way from the mom of your kids and she has moved on, right?
True.
Please, let her be happy.
Yeah.
Stop bothering her. Don't make her life miserable. Because at the end of the day, you separate yourself from her, not from the kids. The kids still being your kids.
Right, true.
They still being your kids. And that's not changing. Unless you want that to change,
Right.
Because somebody else can take your place.
Absolutely. Well.
Like this.
Yeah, that's the important key. If things didn't work out, you guys separated, you guys divorced, move on with your life. Let the person be happy, let them move on with their life.
Exactly.
But do not move on from your children's life.
Yes.
Make it about your kids. It is your kids. It's solely your responsibility, right? I'm pretty sure that mama found a good man and whatever, and they got their thing going on. But that does not exclude you from your responsibilities as a father.
We need to be mature. We need to be really mature.
Right. But another point to that too is if you are going to move on with your life, and you are a mom, you cannot replace the child's father for the man you choose to live with now. It's not replaceable. Right? The child's father is still the child's father.
Yeah.
Right? And particularly when they want to be there.
Fix that.
When they want to be there, right? So, let her move on, right? Or let him move on.
Exactly.
Right? Because that's another topic. We're going to speak about that another time. Because this toxic stuff about breaking up and all this drama is no need for that. But when it comes to having the kids in particular, listen, as long as the father's trying to be there and he's healthy and whatever reasons it may be, let him be a father.
Exactly.
Right? But then again, let mama be a mama and move on with her life.
Exactly.
Right? That's just the truth. If you can handle it when you had it, you can handle it when you had it. It's a joke, y'all. No, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so thank you for tuning in today. And if you're not part of this family, you could like this video, leave your comment, leave your opinion. I would love to respond to it on the next show. And subscribe to this channel, man. You can also follow me on Instagram at Pastor Joel Martinez and TED Talk. I think I'm all around. All right, but you can follow us there. God bless you. Until the next time. See you soon. All right.
Amen.